Stress does not knock before it enters. It slips quietly into our mornings, sits beside us at work, follows us into the night, and whispers that we must hurry, worry, and carry everything alone. We live in a world that glorifies exhaustion and mistakes tension for ambition. But what if I told you that peace is not far away? What if I told you that the power to quiet the noise, to steady your racing heart, and to reclaim your calm has been within you all along? Today, we are not searching for complicated solutions or distant miracles. We are returning to something simple, something human, small daily habits that gently loosen the grip of stress and remind us that a peaceful mind is not a luxury. It is your birthright. Before you try to solve everything, before you answer another demand, before you allow your thoughts to run wild with worst-case endings, pause. There is a quiet companion that has been with you since the very first second of your life. It has never abandoned you, never judged you, never asked for applause. Your breath. It is steady when you forget it, loyal when you ignore it, and powerful when you finally choose to notice it. In moments when stress begins to tighten around your chest, when your shoulders rise like shields preparing for battle, the simplest and bravest thing you can do is inhale slowly and deeply. That breath is not small. It is your first healer. When you breathe with intention, you send a message to your body that you are safe. You interrupt the storm gathering inside your mind. Stress feeds on urgency. Breath restores rhythm. A slow inhale tells your racing heart to soften. A gentle exhale releases tension you did not even realize you were holding. It is as if you are unlocking invisible knots within yourself. You may not control every situation around you, but you can always control the pace of your breathing. And in that control, you rediscover your power. Too often, we wait until we are overwhelmed to remember this gift. We push and push until we are nearly breaking, as if rest and stillness must be earned through exhaustion. But breathing is not surrender. It is strength choosing calm over chaos. It is wisdom deciding that clarity matters more than panic. When you breathe before you react, you create space between the problem and your response. And in that small space, better decisions are born. Think of the times you felt consumed by pressure. Your thoughts likely sped up, your body tightened, your patience thinned. Now imagine meeting that same moment differently. Imagine closing your eyes for just a few seconds, drawing in air slowly, feeling it expand your lungs, your ribs, your entire presence, holding it gently, then releasing it as if you are letting go of invisible weight. In that simple act, you are reminding yourself that this moment, no matter how heavy, will pass. Just like the breath comes and goes, so do challenges. Breathing before you break is not about escaping responsibility. It is about strengthening your foundation so responsibility does not crush you. Each conscious breath is a reset. Each exhale is a quiet declaration that you refuse to be ruled by tension. The world may move quickly, but you do not have to match its frantic pace. You can choose steadiness. So when stress approaches, do not meet it with more force. Meet it with air. Meet it with awareness. Meet it with a breath so deep that it reaches the parts of you that feel tired and reminds them they are still capable, still resilient, still whole. Sometimes the most powerful remedy is not found in doing more, but in pausing long enough to breathe before you break. There is a quiet exhaustion that comes from trying to control everything, trying to manage every opinion, every outcome, every shifting circumstance. You replay conversations in your mind. You predict disasters that have not happened. You carry responsibilities that were never truly yours. And slowly, without realizing it, you become tired not because life is heavy, but because you are gripping it too tightly. The truth is, not everything requires your hands on it. There are things in this world that will move with or without your permission. People will think what they choose to think. Opportunities will arrive and sometimes pass. Weather changes, plans shift, hearts change. You can exhaust yourself attempting to force the river to flow in your preferred direction, or you can learn to adjust your sail, One drains you, the other strengthens you. Releasing what you cannot control does not mean you stop caring. It means you begin caring wisely. It means you recognize the difference between influence and ownership. You can influence your effort, your attitude, your integrity, but you cannot own someone else's behavior or guarantee every result. When you try to, stress multiplies. When you let go, something unexpected happens. Space opens inside you. Think about how much tension is born from what if. What if they misunderstand me? What if I fail? What if this goes wrong? These questions create storms in a future that does not yet exist. And while you wrestle with imagined outcomes, the present moment, the only moment you truly possess, slips quietly away. Releasing control is a decision to return to now. It is choosing to focus on what your hands can actually shape. There is strength in saying, I have done my part. There is peace in acknowledging, the rest is not mine to carry. You prepare, you show up, you act with sincerity, and then you allow life to unfold. That is not weakness, that is maturity. It takes courage to unclench your fists when you are used to holding everything tightly. When you release what you cannot control, your body softens, your thoughts slow. You stop chasing certainty and begin trusting your resilience. Because even if things do not go as planned, you know you can respond. And response is always more powerful than resistance. Letting go does not mean you stop striving. It means you stop suffering over what is beyond your reach. It means you stop measuring your worth by outcomes you cannot command. You begin to understand that your peace is too valuable to be traded for temporary control. So do what you can with clarity and commitment. Speak truthfully, act honestly, try wholeheartedly, and then allow the rest to breathe on its own. Life does not need to be gripped to be guided. Sometimes the calm you are searching for arrives the moment you decide to release what was never yours to hold. There is a voice that follows you everywhere. It speaks when you wake up and when you lie down at night. It comments on your mistakes, measures your progress, compares your journey, and sometimes, without mercy, it criticizes your every step. No one else may hear it, but you do. And over time, that voice begins to shape how you see yourself and how you move through the world. If it is harsh, your world feels harsh. If it is gentle, your world softens. Many people endure stress not because of what others say, but because of what they say to themselves. A small mistake becomes proof of failure. A delay becomes evidence of inadequacy. You fall short once, and your inner voice declares you incapable. Imagine living every day with a companion who constantly reminds you of your flaws and dismisses your effort. It would be exhausting. Yet too often, we become that companion to ourselves. Speaking kindly to yourself is not denial. It is not pretending everything is perfect. It is choosing fairness over cruelty. When something goes wrong, instead of saying, I always ruin things, you pause and say, I am learning. Instead of whispering, I am not good enough, you remind yourself, I am growing. That shift may seem small, but your mind listens carefully to every word. Your nervous system responds to your internal dialogue as if it were reality. Stress tightens its grip when your thoughts are unforgiving. The body reacts to criticism, even self-inflicted criticism, as if it were under threat. But compassion has a calming effect. When you treat yourself with patience, your breathing steadies. Your decisions become clearer. You begin to respond rather than react. Kindness toward yourself creates an environment where improvement feels possible instead of impossible. Consider how you speak to someone you care about when they are struggling. You do not mock their effort. You do not magnify their errors. You encourage them. You remind them of their strength. You give them room to try again. That same understanding must exist within you. You are not meant to be your own enemy. You are meant to be your own foundation. Your inner voice becomes the lens through which you interpret everything. If it constantly tells you that you are behind, You will feel pressure even when you are progressing. If it reminds you that effort matters, you will feel pride even before you reach the destination. The outer world reflects the tone of your inner conversation. Changing that voice requires awareness. You notice the harsh thought, and instead of accepting it as truth, you challenge it, you replace it, you practice new language until it feels natural. Over time, what once felt forced becomes instinct. The critic grows quieter, the encourager grows stronger. When you speak kindly to yourself, stress begins to lose its intensity. You no longer fight life and yourself at the same time. You move forward with steadiness, supported by a voice that believes in you. And in that supportive space, resilience has room to grow. There are days when your thoughts feel heavy, when your mind circles the same worries again and again, as if trapped in a small room with no windows. You sit still, yet inside you are restless. Your shoulders tighten, your jaw clenches, your energy feels stuck. In those moments, the answer is not always to think harder or analyze deeper. Sometimes the answer is far more physical, far more human. You stand up, you move. The body and the mind are not strangers. They are partners in every experience you have. When the mind carries stress, the body holds it. It settles in your muscles, your posture, your pace. And when you begin to move, gently and intentionally, you send a signal that change is possible. A simple walk can loosen thoughts that felt rigid. Stretching your arms can create space not only in your muscles, but in your perspective. Movement does not have to be dramatic to be powerful. It is not about intensity or performance. It is about circulation. When you walk, your breathing deepens naturally. When you sway, stretch, or exercise, your heart begins to pump with purpose. Energy that once felt trapped starts to flow. The tension that had nowhere to go begins to dissolve. You may start with a heavy mind, but step by step, something inside you lightens. There is clarity that arrives when your feet touch the ground in rhythm. Problems that seemed overwhelming while sitting still begin to rearrange themselves. Solutions appear quietly, without force. It is as though movement shakes loose the dust that had settled over your thinking. Even a few minutes of motion can interrupt a spiral of worry. It reminds you that you are not frozen. You are capable of forward momentum. Stress convinces you to stay locked in your head. Movement invites you back into your body. When you feel your muscles engage, when you notice the air against your skin, when you sense your heartbeat steady and strong, you return to the present moment. And stress cannot dominate a mind that is fully present. It thrives in imagined futures and replayed pasts, but it weakens when you anchor yourself in now. There is also something empowering about physical action. When you choose to move, you choose agency. You remind yourself that you are not powerless against your emotions. You can shift your state. You can influence your energy. Even if the external situation has not changed, your internal landscape begins to transform. So when your thoughts feel crowded, resist the urge to remain still in frustration. Step outside. Walk around the room. Stretch toward the ceiling. Let your body participate in your healing. Motion is a quiet release, a gentle reminder that you are designed for flow, not stagnation. And with each step you take, you free not only your limbs, but your mind as well. There will always be noise in the world, opinions offered without invitation, criticism delivered without kindness, complaints repeated until they echo in your own thinking. If you are not careful, you will begin to carry emotions that were never yours to begin with. You will absorb frustration from one conversation, doubt from another, and before long, you will feel drained without understanding why. This is how unprotected energy quietly disappears. Not every burden is yours to lift. Not every mood in the room belongs on your shoulders. Yet many people move through life as emotional collectors, gathering tension from every space they enter. They believe that listening means absorbing, that caring means carrying, that empathy requires self-sacrifice. But there is a difference between compassion and consumption. You can understand someone's pain without storing it inside yourself. Protecting your energy begins with awareness. Notice how certain interactions make you feel. Pay attention to the subtle shift in your body when negativity enters the conversation. Does your breathing become shallow? Do your thoughts grow heavier? Your body often recognizes what your mind tries to rationalize. When you start to feel consistently depleted around certain patterns, it is not selfish to respond. It is responsible. Boundaries are not walls built from anger. They are doors placed with intention. You decide what enters and what does not. You can listen without agreeing. You can care without overcommitting. You can step away without hostility. Sometimes protecting your peace simply means shortening a conversation, changing a subject, or choosing silence over engagement. It means understanding that constant exposure to negativity shapes your inner climate. Energy is precious because it fuels everything you do. It fuels your focus, your patience, your creativity, your resilience. When it is scattered across unnecessary drama or endless complaints, you have less available for your own growth, and slowly stress increases, not from your responsibilities, but from the emotional weight you have accepted without question. There is strength in choosing your environment wisely. Seek conversations that uplift rather than deplete. Spend time with people who challenge you constructively, not destructively. Limit exposure to information that triggers fear without offering clarity. These choices are not avoidance, they are alignment. You are shaping a space where your mind can remain steady. You will not eliminate negativity from the world, but you can reduce its access to you. You can pause before responding. You can decline participation in gossip. You can refuse to internalize words spoken from someone else's unresolved frustration. When you stop personalizing everything, you stop carrying everything. Protecting your energy is a daily practice. It is the quiet decision to value your inner state as much as your external obligations. When you guard it wisely, you feel lighter, clearer, stronger, and with that strength, stress loses one more place to settle within you. There is a kind of healing that does not announce itself. It does not arrive with noise or applause. It slips in quietly, like dawn easing into the sky. In a world that celebrates constant motion, stillness can feel unfamiliar, even uncomfortable. Yet it is within those small, deliberate pauses that your mind begins to untangle itself. When everything around you demands speed, choosing stillness is an act of quiet courage. You do not need a mountain retreat or perfect silence to experience it. Stillness can exist in the space between two deep breaths. It can live in the few minutes before your day fully begins, when the world has not yet placed its expectations upon you. It can be found sitting by a window, noticing the light shift, or closing your eyes and simply listening to the rhythm of your own heartbeat. These moments may appear small, but their impact is not. When you allow yourself to be still, you interrupt the constant stream of input that overwhelms your senses. Notifications, conversations, responsibilities, and comparisons create a steady hum of mental activity. Without pause, that hum becomes noise, and noise, over time, becomes stress. Stillness lowers the volume. It gives your thoughts room to settle, like snowflakes gently falling to the ground. At first, you may notice how busy your mind truly is. Thoughts may race even when your body is quiet. That is natural. Stillness is not the absence of thought. It is the practice of observing without chasing. You let a worry pass without following it. You notice a memory without reliving it. You sit, breathe, and allow your inner world to slow at its own pace. Gradually, the urgency fades. There is clarity that emerges from these pauses. Decisions that once felt tangled begin to separate into simple choices. Emotions that felt overwhelming soften when given space. Instead of reacting impulsively, you respond thoughtfully. Instead of carrying every feeling at full intensity, you experience them with balance. Quiet moments act like gentle resets for your nervous system. Stillness also reconnects you with yourself. In constant motion, you may lose sight of what you truly feel or need. You become focused on tasks and expectations. But when you sit in silence, even briefly, you begin to hear your own voice again. You remember what matters. You recognize what can wait. You become less reactive to external pressure because you are grounded internally. Creating small moments of stillness each day is not indulgence. It is maintenance for your mind. Just as the body requires rest to function well, your thoughts require pauses to remain clear. Even 5 intentional minutes can shift the tone of your entire day. In those minutes, you gather yourself, you breathe fully, you reset your pace, and when you return to the noise of the world, you carry something different within you. Not urgency, not tension, but steadiness. Quiet becomes your medicine, and from that quiet, a calmer life begins to grow. Worry has a way of convincing you that it is useful. It whispers that if you think about the problem long enough, you will prevent it. If you rehearse every possible outcome, you will somehow be prepared for all of them. But most of the time, worry does not prepare you. It only exhausts you. It pulls you into futures that have not arrived and often never will. And while it holds your attention there, it steals the peace available in this very moment. Gratitude moves in the opposite direction. It brings you back to what is working, back to what is steady, back to what is already present and quietly supporting you. It does not deny challenges. It simply refuses to let challenges be the only thing you see. When you choose gratitude, you shift your focus from scarcity to sufficiency. This shift may seem small, but its effect on stress is powerful. The mind cannot fully dwell in appreciation and anxiety at the same intensity. When you begin to notice what is going right, even in modest ways, your body responds. Your breathing softens, your muscles loosen, your thoughts slow down. Gratitude signals safety. It tells your nervous system that not everything is wrong. You can practice it in the simplest ways. At the end of a long day, instead of replaying every mistake, you identify one thing that went well. It may be a kind word from someone, a task you completed, a moment of laughter, a meal that nourished you, the warmth of sunlight through a window. These are not dramatic victories, but they are real, and when you consistently acknowledge them, they begin to reshape your perspective. Worry narrows your vision. It magnifies problems until they feel enormous. Gratitude widens your lens. It reminds you that your life is more than a single challenge. Yes, there may be uncertainty. Yes, there may be pressure, but there is also strength you have shown before. There are obstacles you have already overcome. There are people who care about you. There are resources you still possess. Choosing gratitude does not require perfection. It requires attention. You train your mind to scan for what is stable instead of only what is fragile. Over time, this becomes more natural. You begin to notice blessings without forcing yourself to look. You feel appreciation in ordinary moments, and those ordinary moments accumulate into a quieter mind. When you replace the question, "What if this goes wrong?" with "What is going right now?" you reclaim your power. You remind yourself that life is not solely defined by its uncertainties. There is goodness present, even if it is subtle. And in recognizing that goodness, stress loosens its grip. Anxiety loses some of its urgency. You stand more balanced, aware that while you cannot predict everything ahead, you are already surrounded by reasons to be thankful. In that awareness, peace quietly grows. There is a pressure many people carry without even naming it. It is the belief that rest must be earned only after complete exhaustion, that slowing down means falling behind, and that taking time for yourself is somehow a weakness. This quiet pressure can become heavier than the tasks themselves. You push through tiredness, You ignore signals from your body, and you convince yourself that stopping is not an option. Over time, this constant effort begins to feel like survival rather than living. Rest is not the opposite of progress, it is part of it. Just as the soil must lie fallow to grow strong crops again, your mind and body require pauses to function at their best. When you allow yourself to rest without guilt, you are not abandoning responsibility. You are restoring your capacity to meet it. A tired mind makes heavier problems. A rested mind finds clearer solutions. In rest, creativity returns, patience returns, perspective returns. Guilt often appears when you try to pause. It may whisper that others are working harder, that you should be doing more, that stopping will cost you success. But constant motion does not guarantee achievement. In fact, burnout can quietly reduce your effectiveness. When you are exhausted, even simple tasks feel overwhelming. Your focus slips, your mood tightens, your stress increases. Rest interrupts that cycle before it deepens. Choosing to rest is choosing sustainability. It is understanding that your energy is not limitless, and treating it with respect ensures it remains available when truly needed. A short break can improve concentration. A good night's sleep can stabilize emotions. A moment of stillness can reset your thinking. These pauses are not interruptions in your journey, they are maintenance for your strength. Rest also reconnects you with your inner balance. When you step away from demands, even briefly, you give your nervous system permission to calm down. Your heartbeat steadies, your breathing deepens, your thoughts begin to organize themselves naturally. Without rest, stress accumulates like pressure in a closed space. With rest, that pressure is released in healthy ways. There is wisdom in recognizing that productivity is not measured by how busy you appear, but by the quality of your output and the health of your mind. When you return from rest, you often bring sharper focus and renewed motivation. Tasks that felt heavy before can feel manageable afterward. That transformation does not happen through guilt, it happens through restoration. Allow yourself permission to pause. Sit down without checking your phone. Take a walk without rushing. Sleep without apologizing for it. Understand that you are not required to prove your worth through exhaustion. Your value does not increase because you deny your needs. Rest is not laziness. It is responsibility toward your future self. When you rest without guilt, you are investing in endurance, clarity, and emotional stability. And in that investment, stress loses one of its strongest supports because a rested mind stands firm, steady, and ready for whatever comes next.